Hey y'all, good Sunday evening to you. Sound like Christmas around here. So I got some collars with bells for the goats. Got 11 of these critters, and I talked to a good friend the other day, and I guess I need to record a goat roping here. Most of them aren't, none of them are mean, but they're just not friendly as far as just letting you come up and pet them. So I don't know really. What's that old song by that Rocket Meatloaf? What, 2 out of 3 ain't bad or something like that? Well, I got 11 goats and I've got 7 collars on them. So I only got 4 to go, but those are the temperamental ones. Again, none of them are mean. So I guess I'm gonna have to give me a lariat rope and some pig and string and lasso these rascals, tie them up, just to put a collar on them. No, I don't think it'll be that bad. I guess I could get me some Bermuda shorts, and boy, that would go viral, wouldn't it? Out here goat roping. But I walked in here after getting some of them done, and most of the ones with bells on them were out in the pasture. It sounded like sleigh bells running across that pasture. So these 2 little ones, y'all, there's something else. These are the bottle babies from back in the day. And when I'm outside, they are looking for me. I guess I'm mama. Of course, I don't have no trouble getting their collars on them, but they got a little, these are all breakaway collars. You don't want to use anything but breakaways on goats because they'll get in a bind and don't want them choking. So before that'll happen, these will break away. But I still got old big boy over there to catch. He ain't having me. I can catch him, but it takes 2 hands to hold him horns, and I don't have a free hand to put a collar on him. But that's up and coming. Well, old Tank's gonna make his debut this evening. We got an open door policy today here on the farm. Feed room's open, the chicken house is open, the goat pen's open. We got so many weeds out here in the pasture that they'll never find the garden. So they've got free range on that tonight. You know, Tank came with me through a little rescue situation from down the road. He was originally rescued down in the Beaumont area, and they brought him up here, and he just wouldn't stay on that farm with those deer. And I've had him up here for a while, and the owner said it'd probably be best just me to keep him up here. Thought he and Sissy had bred, but not so much. She should be due here another couple of weeks, and she's not showing any signs, so we'll have to wait for the Christmas round that she goes into heat around October. Maybe get a good litter out of her. But he's been living in the chicken house, and it's a big place. I mean, just in itself, it's better than any kennel or backyard that he could have. But I've cautiously let him out, and he's been in the house today a couple of times, and Bart thinks he wants to bow up on him until he realizes how big he is. Poor Bart can't see anything. And Tank didn't get aggressive. He just let Bart figure out the size, kind of like a blind man and an elephant. Ain't that right, buddy? But he is on guard doing his job. I'm not going to be comfortable leaving him out here at night unsupervised for a little while because I don't want him in that road. But he's a sweet pup, big old thing. His head's bigger than my chest almost. Ain't that right, buddy? But good temperament, keeping an eye on the goats, and he's not wandering too far away. He's checked out the front of the house a couple of times, but he'd rather be back here, I believe. So anyway, all is well on the place. It's hot. It's that time of year again. It ain't really got hot yet. You know, in levity, I was thinking, surely goofy things I think about. Y'all know me. I was like, there must be more Christians down south than up north, simply because of the fact that we've lived all our life in the heat. We sure don't want to spend eternity in it. Is that right? Preacher wouldn't have a hard time convincing us to stay out of that hot place after dealing with it, right? I've been meditating life events and extended family and some things going awry that maybe we wouldn't wish in life. Everything's fine, but it's just life's challenges, I guess. I've been thinking about peacemakers and what that means. Matthew 5:9 said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are children of God, right? Rage, anger, Lord, it's so prevalent these days, more than I've ever seen, really, from road rage to just drama in personal lives and things, and it's easy to get worked up into a good mad. Y'all ever just been, what they say, the switch has been flipped? I mean, your hair stands up on the back of your head, you see red, you don't have any side vision at all, and you're just ready to run through something. Yeah, me too. I've had that before. But how oftentimes is it better to kind of diffuse that situation? Maybe a little bit. I've always said, had a good buddy, lifelong friend, and he and I were close over the years. He's a little different these days than he used to be, but he had some rough patches throughout his journey, but we've always remained close together. He and I always agreed that you can't really fight a man with his hands down. You know what I'm talking about? So you got somebody just upset and mad and rushing at you. I'm not talking about a life or death situation. We're just talking about a fight or an angry thing or something along that line. And you just stand there and peacefully don't fight back. Well, it kind of helps diffuse things a little bit. And he'd always talked about that and advised different ones along that path. Well, he got tested in that regard one time, and probably one of the few people he ever told about this event. It was a rough time in his life, and it speaks to the testament of peacemaking. He was an old hothead back in the day. He used to tell me he was the littlest one of the bunch, and he'd take off in his 20s and 30s, and he'd always have big buddies with him, right? Because his mouth would overload him, and his buddies would have to take up the slack. And as he aged and wised, he tempered himself a little bit. But he was in his second marriage, and things had been okay for a few years, some little trouble along the way. But time had come. She decided that they needed to separate. And he loved her. It destroyed him. Well, it was a smooth transition. She was going to live in the house there for a little longer until she found a place. And he had kids from another marriage that came and stayed with him during the summer. And that's when all of it went down. And he was upset, trying to navigate that space. I'm trying to guide him through it, leaning on his faith, knowing that things would be okay. Well, one evening, there in the little neighborhood that they lived in, and I remember all the trauma in his mind, and upset as he was that his marriage was failing and he was trying to struggle to get it back. There was a neighbor across the street that were good friends with these folks, a single mother and a couple of kids, and she had a few boyfriends along the way. Well, this one she was with at the time, he was telling me, was very abusive, large Hispanic man. Not that the race makes a difference, but just his size was a little intimidating to this friend of mine. And they were sitting there one evening in the living room, and the door started rattling. So he got up and went to the door. There was a young lady across the street in a panic with her two kids, scared because this man was angry at the house and threatening. So he let them into the house, and they went on to the living room with his then still wife. They had a separation. He went out into the yard, and in his usual style, peaceful, calm. The man was standing over there yelling. And he calmly just assured him that everything was going to be okay, to just calm it down a little bit, and we could get through it. Well, the man went across the street, he said, and entered into his yard. He lived on a little hill. Didn't faze him. He didn't get upset, didn't get angry. No defensive posture, just talking, trying to diffuse the situation. Well, after a few seconds, the large man towered over him, came up, and just out of nowhere laid him out with a heavy right hand hook, unprovoked. My friend picked himself up off the ground. His children were behind him, scared, on the porch. Man was aggressing, and he stood his ground, and he smiled at the man and told him it was going to be okay. Shocked the man. Didn't know how to take that. There was no fight to be had. My friend absorbed the punch, and about that time the cops pulled up. his soon-to-be ex-wife and called the police to get involved. Well, then forgiveness came in. Cops were there to handle the situation. Things got quieted down, and they asked my friend, did he want to press assault charges, and had every right to do so. My friend took the wise route in his embarrassment, or so he thought he was embarrassed. He said, no, let's just do a criminal trespass on this property and set the man free. Everything went back to normal, and the man actually apologized to my friend in tears after that had happened. That bothered him for a long time, thinking he'd showed weakness that day in not necessarily protecting his family. I assured him he did in later years. What would have happened if he'd have been aggressive back to that large man and obviously been overpowered and angered the man to where he walked into the house and caused even more havoc. But through peaceful resistance, with his hands down, not a threat, took the punch, and things calmed down. Bothered him for a long time until he realized here in the last few years we've talked, he's changed, different man, and all is well today here on my farm in East Texas. I talked to my kids about that story many times. Embarrassed they had to see it. But now I understand it's showing a quiet strength. I understood it. His ex-wife had laughed at him, saying he was weak. He knew where his strength was at. He knew how to get there. Right. Leadership. Diffusing things. How many times have we come across anger or an argument in public, looking at our phones trying to catch the latest fight video instead of saying a little prayer and whispering a little peace on the situation? I know the world could use a lot more of that. Y'all reckon? I think so. Leadership. I had read a story in the 1970s. They had some issues over in South Africa. It didn't make itself manifest until the 80s in Kruger National Park Wildlife Preserve. There was a rash of rhinoceroses that were being killed and mauled all across the park. The count was over 50, and they were perplexed at what was doing it. Originally, they thought it was poachers due to the value of the horns on the rhinos, but all the carcasses, the tusks or the horns were intact. There were marks all on the back of these huge, tough rhinos. They finally figured out it was a group of roving juvenile elephants. See, what had happened in the 70s, some of the parks were overloaded, so they were dispersing some of the younger animals across the continent. Well, those bull elephants, the father figures, were a little bit too heavy to carry, too heavy to transport, so they just took the babies and the mamas. Well, these elephants were now juveniles, didn't have a father figure to lead them, so they roved in packs and just mauled and created havoc all over the park. When they realized it, they took the time and the expense to move in some of the big bull elephants, the fathers, the old ones, into the park. And within a matter of days, the juveniles came into check. Father figures are so important. Mothers, fathers, they all have a role in the family unit. But that structure that those young elephants were missing even showed up in nature. That's something. Nature's God's second book of his goodness, in my mind. He shows us all around the sovereignty of it. There's no politics, there's no emotions, there's no preferences. It's just as he designed it. And we can sure learn a lot from it. Couldn't we? I think so. Lighten it up a little bit. An old motorist running through a rural Texas town, and out there in the rural area, wasn't paying attention and hit a calf in the middle of the road next to a ranch. Killed the poor calf dead. Well, he hated it. So he sought out the rancher and Went up to the house and said, "Sir, I've ran over your calf out there on the road, and I need to compensate you for it. I'm sorry." I said, "What's he worth?" He said, and she said, "Well, I gave $200 for him. Here in about 6 years, he's going to be worth $900, so I'm out $900. Motor scratched his head. He said, "Well, 900, huh?" He said, "Yeah." So he patiently was a peacemaker, got out his checkbook and wrote a check for the full $900 and handed it to the rancher. It was post dated 6 years from that day. So there's ways around it, right? Wasn't no sense in an argument there, was it? Nope, not at all. Wise friends, good to have. Good counsel. We talked about that here a few weeks ago, or last week around Father's Day, the birds of a feather. Well, the challenge with that is, if you're just hanging around wise friends, it's hard to fulfill the Great Commission. You got to get out in the streets and mix with those maybe that haven't found that path yet, right? Well, how do we reconcile that? If we're supposed to be hanging around wise ones, how do we get into the environment without getting stuck in it? Thought about that a lot, and it's tricky and it's prayerful that you do so. And you can't just be in an echo chamber of a church house necessarily, because the folks that need it the most may not be there. Well, they may be there too. But I thought about the firemen and maybe how to explain it. You know, they hang out with their wise buddies, the fellow firemen, and training several times at the firehouse 3 or 4 days a week as they wait for a call. And when somebody's in need inside that burning house, they vacate their offices and put on their gear, employ their training, and go into that burning building, in that environment where that person is at, in danger of perishing, and they get them to safety. They pull them out of that environment, right? Once they've been led to safety and educated and checked out and helped out and saved, they release them back to their self, to their freedom, hoping that they don't go back into that environment again, but it's on their own free will to choose that. Maybe that's how we get in and get out, right? Lead them to safety and don't dwell there. Isn't that right, Tank? Tank needs to dwell here, though. You don't need to be running down the road, buddy. He's sure a pretty fella, isn't he? Y'all sound off in the comments. We'll do a roll call here in just a second. I was hoping them ghosts would run up on me and we'd hear some jingle bells in June. Hey, you see, there's a bunch of them that's got the bells on them now. What are y'all doing? Y'all are marked. Yep, we can hear you coming now. Here's one that won't let me catch her. What are you doing, boss? Huh? Whatever you want? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. Me and him had a tussle with that red collar. Say good evening. The ladies have found a spot for the night. Yeah. Now, y'all done got yourself in a bind in there, y'all. How you gonna get out? I got the door closed. What do y'all think we ought to do about it? Should we let them out? Huh? Should we let them out? I think so. Are they in y'all's house now? They're going to eat your chicken pellets, ain't they? That's what I said. That's what's going to happen. Guess we're going to have to let them out. Come on. Let's go over here. I don't want to... Got a hole out here somewhere. Reminded me of that story. Two old fellas walking through the woods. And they come up. They're just out sightseeing. Y'all come on. They come up on a big old hole in the ground. They'd never been in that part of the woods before. It was deep. Couldn't even see the bottom. Well, you know how us guys are. We're curious. So they started chunking stuff down that old hole. Started off with some sticks and some rocks that they could find. And couldn't hear it hit the bottom. Got their curiosity up. Like, man, wonder how deep that hole is. What's down in there? So they found a big old tree branch to it down there. Nothing. Another big old rock, both of them heaving and hoeing through it in there, nothing. Finally found an old stump through it down there. They're just about to give up. One of them spotted a railroad tie, heavy old thing. Took all they had, it was about 10 foot from it. They heaved and hoed and picked it up. Threw it down that hole trying to hear it hit the bottom. Well, never did hear it hit. About a minute later, here comes a cow. Coming through the woods, went and jumped right down in that hole. I mean, just pretty as you please. They're like, man, that's the craziest thing I ever seen. We better get out of here. So they went to leave the woods. The old farmer was walking into the woods on their way out, and they told him, man, watch out, there's a big old hole up there that ain't got no bottom, so be careful. He said, all right. He said, y'all seen a cow? He says, as a matter of fact, we did see a cow come charging at us, almost hit us, and jumped in that hole. He said, oh, that ain't my cow. I had mine tied to a railroad tie. Poor old cow. Oh, man. I hope they was stepping quick by the time that old farmer found that out, right? Goodness gracious. Well, I'm hoping y'all have a great week ahead. The old sun's about to set. Got a little work done around the place here. I guess farm didn't get the memo that Sunday's supposed to be a day of rest. It didn't feel like too restful after church this morning. Come home and ate a little bite, took a quick nap, and got out here in the middle of the heat like a goober. I know better. Mama taught us better than that. You get up at daylight and work and then take a little nap and then wait till about 3 or 4 o'clock. Once ease out in there and work till dark. But nope, I got out right in the middle of it. Paid the price with a sweated down hat, right? I like that hat, Tread Not. New little brand here in Nacogdoches. Take a couple different ways, but I thought that's pretty neat. Young man's an entrepreneur and got his own little logo and brand, so thought I'd, he tried to give me the hat. I ain't doing that, paying for it. So, helped him out on his little entrepreneurial mission. Anyway, I needed one in blue. That's my color, ain't it, y'all? Huh? You want to do roll call with me? Huh? Say hi to the peoples? Well, if you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. Silly. Oh, man. Let's see who all's on here real quick, and we'll call it a night. Appreciate all y'all sharing these videos and interacting with the page. It always helps us out along the way. And a few subscribers we pick up. But main thing is sharing the light. So, see something you agree with, share it on down the line. Something you don't agree with, let's talk about it in the comments or a message. Maybe we can come to an understanding together, right? Be peacemakers together. All right, let me scroll back up through here and see what's going on. Let's see. Carolyn says, I'm their mama. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yep, I guess so. This is June. I guess I could identify as a goat and be all right this month. I ain't got long, though. I think I'll still be a dude. Let them think what they want. Ain't that right, buddy? That's right. Thank you for that, Carolyn. That is Tank is a beautiful dog, but I'm telling y'all, I'm nervous as a cat on a roof. That old road has claimed so many of them. It's hard to rest easy. But I'm going to maintain him as best I can. He's been in the house some today, and he's behaved. I don't know that that's the right solution. But I really need a dog out here at night. But Hank has got his sense together and has learned to stay out of that road, so he does a good enough job outside. So I think I need a good year under old Tank's belt before I can be okay with him staying out of that road. I am getting I finally come up on a solution for my fencing that I want to do. Got a lot of land here. It's 10 acres, but I'd like to expand this goats. I don't have a tractor. Don't have any plans to get one. There's some in the family, but it's not about borrowing all the time. They need to be in other places doing other work. And I've got the mowing crew here to do it. It's just a matter of managing them staying in. And fencing's expensive, but talked with my good friends down at Bowles Feed here in Nacogdoches and settled in on a product that we're going to use. I'm going to put up some electric fencing around that'll hold these goats, and it's pretty economical. As the garden dies out, I'm going to first fence in this area up here, about 200 foot up, across and back, and let those goats go to work on all that brush. That'll be, well, it costs a lot of money to do that with a bulldozer, but these 11 goats will make quick work of that over the next few months, and they'll be in the shade. And as we start heading toward fall, and the garden goes away, I'll rearrange the fence to just take in this back pasture and let them have at it, block off the elderberries with it. Should be good, so I'm excited about that. These 11 will turn into probably 20, 22 by fall. It goes right. But they're sure cheaper to keep up with grazing than a tractor is to buy and maintain and all that. So if I can get it done naturally, that'd be the way to go, wouldn't it? There's not enough land for cows, and it might be too much for goats. But looking for, hope to get some turkeys in before too long. Missed the window this spring. Had a few, but they didn't make it. Just a rough time of year. But get back into our bourbon red turkeys that we had on the place that time. I can't get away from you, can I? That's all right. That's all right, baby. You can follow me wherever you want to go. You can. Who says a goat can't be led, huh? All right, I got squirreled again. Let me put on my spectacles and get this roll call done. I'm already overheating again. You know, when you put that mosquito spray on, it kind of seals your pores up. You don't get bit, but you get hot and sweaty pretty quick. All right. There's Miss Mary. Good evening to you. Miss Holly out Alabama way, Georgia way. Good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Carolyn. Yeah, goats, chickens. We got it all here. There's Miss Jill Destin. Good to see you. So it takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight. Yes, ma'am, it does. I've always believed that. Just never really got tested quite that hard. But it was a stain on my brain for a little while, but good Lord showed me that's the right path. There's the other one, y'all. They got to be by me. They're not after milk anymore. They just want their loving. Ain't that right? Got our new pretty pink collar on. Yep, you got the little gold one. Yep. You're a little bit loose there, baby. I'm going to tighten that up. These I can handle. I'm glad of that because they'll be does, and when they produce milk, it'll be easy to milk these two. Because they want... You're getting like sissy. What are you doing? Huh? You want to say howdy, huh? Want to say hello? Oh, goodness. Something else. There's Miss Billy, or Billy, I'm sorry. Thank you. Concerned living close to the road. That's right. There's Miss Liz. Howdy to you. Jean's in Deer Park. And I think I got everybody. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this evening. I put my tools up and close the open house here. Or some of it anyway. But, Hank's on patrol. I'm going to get Tank settled up. So not really ready for him to be out all night yet. We're still a few months from that. We'll get all that taken care of. Hey, y'all be the light. Have a good week. Make it count. And let's be peacemakers. Right? We can do it. Y'all have a good week.